Falcon fans, and of course, Falcon fans. Good morning. Breakfast with One Time for the Fan is here. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and so much more. T Will for my ATL Sports One Time for the Fan. Big shout out to Miss Carrie. Big shout out to Bodie 3000. One Time for the Fan. Hope they're doing well. Falcon fans, this is a great time to be here talking Falcons football with us because we are back. To let y'all know that this is just a great time in Falcons land. New defensive coordinator. All season is kind of already started for us. New defensive line coach, new linebackers coach. So some fans are really excited about what this 2025 upcoming Atlanta Falcons coordinating staff could look like. And of course, we had to get down to breaking up the roster too as well. T. Will, how is everything going with you, sir, this morning?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. All is well. Glad to be here with, hey, first and foremost, these fans in the chat, man, because we wouldn't be here without them. Definitely glad to be here with you, Jack. And I tell you what, man, I just got off my show this morning in which my brother joined me. And the last, would you like to know the last thing he said to me, Jack?
Before? Oh, Lord. You say you'll see you on my show, I'm guessing?
Yeah, he said, if you say anything, he's coming for you today. That's what he's. Matter of fact, I think he's in the chat, man. So yeah,
he's here early.
He's here early.
He's up early.
Yeah, man.
Big shout out to all the fans in the chat. Let's go ahead and get to the chat, man. Falcons Friday is, always a great time here on One Time for the Fan. Eric Parker throwing around the demon emoji early. He's here. He don't want no trouble, man. We don't want no smoke. Eric posted a meme too as well this week. I don't know I forget where that movie or that picture came from, but it was pretty much EP photoshopping a picture of himself with holding me by the ankles upside down. Big shot Eric Parker. Come on, let me get that picture up here too.
Oh man,
yeah, that was a funny one right there.
My brother is the king of memes, sir.
Oh man, Eric Parker, man.
He is the king.
Die Hard Atlanta Falcons fan. 82 Monte Carlo.
What up, Carlo?
Tell him about the gun line, boss.
Tell him about the gun line, boss.
Tell him about the gun line, boss.
Tell him about the gun line, boss. Don't be scared.
Oh, man.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, man. Last night, had to sit back and watch some NBA, man. So I had a couple drinks that led to a couple more drinks. You know what I'm saying? Tried to hit those parlays, but it was it's just weird seeing how the NBA has turned into the National Blowout Association. Like teams are just by halftime, you already know if they're down 10 or 15, it's over.
It's over.
It's over. And of
it's
course,
a wrap, as they say.
Watching the Hawks in Cleveland, just disappointing performance from what I've been seeing them over the past couple games, because you beat some of these top teams early in the year and you get down to playing them again later on in the season and you can't get the job done. Then you have teams like Houston and OKC, and the Celtics has been so consistent. So I just want to see my Hawks get back on track. Before I actually put on my Falcon shirt this morning, I had on my Hawks shirt too as well. So big shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. Big shout out to Bijan Robinson too as well.
Bijan. Saw him with Micah. Yeah. He was on an interview with Micah, wasn't he?
What's up?
He was on an interview with Micah the other day, I think.
Yeah.
Michael Parsons, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that on Sunday. Terry, you excited about the Pro Bowl?
In a word, no. I guess I'm an older gentleman when, Pro Bowls really meant something. They didn't, but they did, right? So, I guess they figured out at one point, hey, I'm getting paid X amount of dollars. Why would I go out here and go all out and get hurt? Which is, respectable, but I don't look forward to the Pro Bowl for two reasons. Number one, if you're going, your team's not in the Super Bowl, right? So I really feel like we might need to maneuver that around. Maybe we move the Pro Bowl to the middle of the season, right? And it's the second bye as we're going to an 18-game schedule, and maybe the winner, right, of the Pro Bowl, whether it be AFC or NFC, maybe you get two possessions. Maybe you get two kickoffs. You get a kickoff in the first half and a kickoff in the second half, and that would be some sort of incentive, right, to get them to perform. I know everybody loves the NBA basketball game, NBA All-Star game. They promote it. Nobody plays any defense, but I really I don't watch either All-Star. I don't watch the MLB All-Star game. I don't watch the NBA because there's no defense. The score is like 170 to 168.
They have a new format this year, apparently rolling out. I guess some type of like a mini tournament must be like 3 or 4 teams are playing in this.
For the no, that was a different tournament. You're talking about the in-season tournament.
Well, no, not the in-season tournament. What is this new All-Star game they have coming up here? Is
I
that
don't
like
know.
there's a
I
coach
don't.
for
I don't
each
know.
team? Because I see there's the Cavaliers coach is coaching one team and the assistant is coaching another team, and then they have Oklahoma City's coach apparently coaching one team, and then his assistant is coaching another. So I try to pull it up here and find out what's going
Okay,
on.
yeah. I knew nothing about it, but I mean, as far as the Pro Bowls come, it just doesn't do anything for me, man. It really doesn't. I'm being honest.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't.
not turning to flag football. Not really much of the event where
Yeah.
fans are going to be expecting a lot of players, doing the full on contact that they used to do in the
Right.
game back in the day. So it's it's a little different nowadays. Even with the MLB All Star Game, of course, with the the NBA All Star Game, things are changing.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to watch some flag football on Sunday, big shout out to our players that's out there. The skill games competition is already starting to heat up too. So it's actually just cool to have some Falcons out there. But then again, like you said, if you're going to the Pro Bowl, you're not going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We at one
There you
point
go.
was on the path
Right.
of making the playoffs and hoping that some of these players, could get to this moment where Philadelphia is.
Yeah.
Right
Like
now.
if you're a Commanders fan, you're and you see any of your guys, which you probably will, you're gonna be. It's gonna bring it all back up again, right? Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
We did.
Even last
It's
night,
just.
seeing some of the comments about Sam Darnold and the Vikings fans saying, "Where was this all season?" Sam Darnold,
Right.
I guess he was lighting it up on the skills challenge. But it was just funny to see, man. So, quick podcast this morning too, as well. Falcon fans got some stuff to take care of. So, breakfast with one time for the family will be short today. It's kind of like a little quick IHOP breakfast, not a Waffle House breakfast, quick IHOP breakfast. Deshaun Cos was in the chat. He said, "What's up, one time?" It's big shout out to Deshaun back in the
What
chat.
up, Deshaun? What's going on?
Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.
Hey,
Get
and we
some.
ride on them things like every day.
Sheesh. Big shout out to Dwayne Ruffin. Good morning, Falcon.
Deke. What
Big
up,
shout out
Deke?
to Deep
What's going
in
on?
the chat. Smooth season in the chat. One time for the one time breakfast with one time for the
What up,
family.
Smooth
Big
C?
shout out to Smooth C in the chat. Jay in the truck. Big shout out to Jay in the truck. One time for the fan. Happy Friday. And it's my birthday. About to turn up. Yay!
Happy birthday, man. Happy
Rise
birthday,
up.
man.
Hey, happy
Enjoy
birthday,
your
Jay.
day.
Happy birthday.
Hey,
Falcon
Jack, let me
fans.
ask you a question.
What's up, brother?
Do you think a Friday birthday is a better work because you got all weekend to celebrate? Like, is that a better birthday than say having it on a Tuesday, right, or a Wednesday, where like your birthday is Friday and the entire weekend is about you and your mayhem? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
Well, it depends on, who you are and how you grew up. I think even for most of us, that birthday growing up when you was 11, 12, 13, it was a big moment for you. You wanted the
Oh yeah,
presents, you wanted the birthday parties, you wanted the celebration, you wanted everybody to be around for that moment. You wanted to throw a party, go out, hang out with your friends, wherever you used to go, however you used to do it. But nowadays, some people kind of look at it as, oh, I'm celebrating all month. It's my birthday month now, right? So for those that's having a birthday today or a birthday next week, some people might look at it as, hey, for February, that's my birthday month. I'm turning up the week after my birthday, the week
I
after
don't
that.
blame them.
But
I don't blame them.
to have a Friday birthday, for that feeling of if you're going on vacation or if you're doing like a trip with the wife or the family. However, I mean, Friday is a good little moment because you do get off for that weekend. I mean, Saturday and Sunday, I hope most people are off for that day. If Friday is your birthday, even if you can get your birthday off on Friday, that's a good feeling. But a Tuesday birthday, it's not. It's really not the same compared to Friday.
It's no panache, right? Exactly.
You gotta go to work the next day.
Right.
You
right.
got to be in bed early.
Right.
You can't really drink at most places. The Tuesday
Right.
vibe is different from the Friday,
Right.
Saturday vibe. Depends on
Right.
where you're at.
Right.
But then again, if your birthday's on Monday, you can always go to Magic City, and there's nothing wrong with that. Falcon Commander's in the chat. A1 Forever is in the chat. We're going to talk a little bit about what y'all talking about in the chat too as well. Falcon Commander said mid-season Pro Bowl is a great idea. T-Will, go ATL Falcons. Rise up, Dirty Birds.
Falcon
Hey, man.
Commander, how we doing, man? I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Big shout out to Georgia,
Georgia,
Texas boy.
Texas boy.
What it do one time for the fan, Jack T. Well, Falcons family. The new era is here.
New era indeed, sir. New era indeed.
Big shout out to John Moreno in the chat. Good morning. Hey, look,
Done.
Falcons fans, we got a quick show here on the channel today, so let's go ahead and get straight to it. I know some Falcon fans are excited about what they've been seeing down there at the Senior Bowl, and of course, um, there is some players who are lighting it up um, throughout college football this season, and of course, where they are right now in the offseason. One name that keeps coming up in the Falcons fandom universe is this guy, Mike Green from Marshall.
From
We do want
Marshall.
to bring this up here because we have talked about it on the channel before. Would the Falcons be comfortable drafting a guy from? I'm sorry. Would the Falcons fans be comfortable drafting a guy from Marshall? Because you're expecting a name from these, big name schools. A guy like James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, right? Oh, Jesus Christ! A guy like James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, Abdul Carter from Penn State, Michael Williams from University of Georgia. Go Dogs!
Go Dogs.
And then you have Mike Green in the middle. So it's just wild to see right now where we are in college football. That one of the star pass rushers in college football this season was a kid from Marshall. Now you're probably thinking, yes, Marshall did not play Alabama. They did not play Georgia. They did not play these big name schools. So when you put him out there against some of these big name offensive linemen, these 4 or 5 star recruits, these big guys that's going to be making an impact probably week 1 in the NFL next season, he doesn't match up. Well, Terry, that is not the case because reports down there at the Senior Bowl that the best pass rusher that they have probably ever seen in a long time is Mike Green from the University of Marshall. Falcon fans, we sit at 15, of course, in the draft this year, and getting a new defensive coordinator, getting a new defensive line coach, getting a new linebackers coach, and especially for a guy like Jeff Ulbrich, who's back in the building working with Raheem, defense was a major part of, why we couldn't get it done early in the season last year. And I think it's time to address those needs of what we need. And Mike Green from Marshall could be the guy. Now, Terry, I just want to just show this right here. I'm not going to show this clip.
Where did Randy Moss go to school?
Sheesh, Randy Moss went to school. Was it a small school in Mississippi? Was it?
No, I think he went to Marshall. Yeah,
he went to Marshall. Oh, right,
Randy
Moss
I think
went
he
to
went to
Marshall.
Marshall. You know what I mean? Yeah. How'd that work out, Jack? Worked out pretty good. Yeah.
Randy Moss actually had a great NFL career, if you ask
Hall
me.
of Famer. Hall of Famer was he?
Yep.
Yeah. Hall of Famer. Oh,
Yep.
okay. All right.
Marshall University.
There you go. So yeah, it worked out for him. I don't see why it can't work out from this young man. From all we've seen, man, this dude is killing folks. I mean, they've asked the offensive linemen and defensive linemen attending that camp, and they all say he is the best thing. And my worry now, Jack, to be honest with you, is he going to be there at 15?
So that's the thing, and because I got caught up with some stuff this morning, and we have to leave here shortly. Sunday, we're going to come back and do the mock because we have more time Sunday night. Plus this Pro Bowl, talk a little bit about the Pro Bowl and see what Bijan did. Maybe, I don't know, he scores 15 flag football touchdowns. I don't know. Or, Cordell Hodge and so forth for some of the other players that's having a good time out there. It's just a great time for, I know, the players to be out there with their family and friends and everything. But, the new Pro Bowl is totally different than the old Pro Bowl. But we're going to do a mock Sunday night, Terry. Let's find out. And this is a pre-draft mock, of course. This is the pre-free agency mock. We haven't even seen what the Falcons have done this offseason. Who's staying, who's going. But there's some needs that we have to address. And I think, with PFF and other sources mentioning that the Falcons need edge, they need wide receiver, they need cornerback, offensive line, we can go ahead and whip up 4 or 5 picks on this mock draft simulator. So we'll do that Sunday night. But looking at this picture right here, Terry, of Mike Green going up against a solid offensive tackle here that played in college football. He's literally lifting this dude off his feet, Terry.
Somebody's about to take a trip.
Bro, it's like some Darth Vader type stuff right here. Like this is
Somebody's about to get some sky miles because he's going for a trip.
Mike Green is just, I think, will be a good fit here in Atlanta. You do have the fans that do not watch college football that's going to sit there at the Benz on draft night and see the Falcons at 15, or if they trade back. Here's the thing. Combine hasn't started yet. I know Mike Green just announced too as well that he's not going to be playing in the Senior Bowl. He just came down there to show off, and then he's going back to work on his draft routine. I don't know if he's going to do the combine, how it's going to work, or what his numbers will be. But from what he's done in college football, in his college football career, it shows that he will be a first round pick. Will he be at the back of 20 through 32? I don't think so.
No.
His name is being talked about so much in the pass rushing group. I can see him being off the board, probably one of the first pass rushers, unless some name pops up outside of him, which James Pierce Jr. is a name that fans are speaking about. Abdul Carter is a name too as well that fans are speaking about. Could he be the next Micah Parsons? People are talking about that. But true edge, especially what you're looking at with Mike Green, fans are thinking he is the first defensive pass rusher off the board. And if you're sitting at 15, could Mike Green be there, Terry? That is the question you just asked me, and I'm kind of worried if Mike Green's draft stock keeps rising, will he be there at 15?
Yeah.
And then it makes you think about, who else would the Falcons go target then at that point? So Sunday night we're gonna do a quick mock to see what we can put together. I know Shamar Stewart was a name that Mel Kiper Jr. mentioned for us as well. He was down there at the practices too, but most of the information you're hearing, Terry, about pass rushers at this practice is Mike Green. The videos, the viral videos you've seen of a pass rusher blowing up offensive linemen is from Mike Green. And there are of course, there are a couple other players that's making a name for themselves, and they're doing a great job down there at the Senior Bowl practices. But Terry, the name people keep mentioning is Mike Green. Big
Mike
shout to
Green.
Berto, Mike Green. Big shout
Mike
to Berto,
Green.
95 North Falcons talk show. He had a draft that he put out earlier this morning. Shamar Stewart at 15 did not trade back. TJ Sanders, he kept going on the defensive line from South Carolina to help with the Falcons' defensive line needs at 46. Zay Alexander, a cornerback from LSU at 117, and Xavier Truss, offensive tackle from Georgia. So people doing their free agency mocks right now. And of course, when the free agency hits and you can go ahead and grab some players, it's going to shape around the draft. So we're just doing this now because it's fun to do. It's real cool. I mean, this is, we're just passing time as Falcon fans to enjoy, this offseason. It's disappointing that we have to do mocks right now. We should be gearing up for the game in New Orleans with our team down there, but didn't happen that way this season. But expectations are still high. So Terry, Mike Green, will he be there? That's a tough decision to make right now at 15. Would you trade up for him? I don't think we have the
pieces to do
it, and it's a tough move for Terry to have to move up to 9 or 10 to go get a Mike Green. Will James Pierce Jr. be there at 15?
Good question.
Possibly. Would Abdul Carter be there at 15? I think so. With the name of with Mike Green's name being tossed around so much here, not only with Falcon fans, think about other teams who want a pass rusher within that 15 or that 5 to 15 mark, because we already know what's happening between 1 through 5. There's a lot of Shadur Sanders videos, and the Giants will take him, and Travis is going 1, and I think you're starting to pan out of who can go 1 through 5. 5 through 15 is where your Mike Greens go. Right, that's where your Abdul Carter could possibly end up. That's where that offensive tackle, I believe, from Penn State can end up. So that's the decision that Terry then will have to make going forward. But fans want to trade back and collect more pieces. Will Mike Green be there at 20 if you trade back?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Your best pass rusher right now from college football going into this draft is Mike Green.
He might not be there at 10, Jack.
Man, I want to get to the mock so bad on Sunday. And with Shamar Stewart being there available at 15, a guy to look at. Would they go cornerback? The kid from Michigan, Johnson, I think he will be there at 15 too as well. So got some things to look at, Falcon fans. Christy Lewis is in the chat. Big shout out to Christy Lewis.
Christy, what's going
Falcons
on?
Friday. Christy Lewis is Falcon fans talking Falcons football on a Falcons Friday. You know how one time for the fan do it. From the fan, for the fan. Good morning, Falcons fan. Christy Lewis here in the chat. Dwayne Ruffin, that DE from Boston College, too, making some noise. And there's some, we talked about it. Matt Miller, NFL Pro Scout, mentioned it. There's a heavy upside with a lot of these defensive players in the draft this year. So if you're grabbing a guy, you could be grabbing a gem at 15. You're trading back to 20, you could be grabbing a guy that could be here for years in Atlanta. And that's the cool thing about it, that they're talking so heavy on the defensive side of the ball this year in the draft because we need defense. We need it bad. And I do think looking at the roster, looking at the cap situation, which Scott Karisic and, of course, other cap gurus have talked about ways how they can break down and gain, about $40-50 million in cap space, which is pretty cool to know because the Falcons won't be going in there with no $4 or $5 million to play around with. You know that the Falcons could make some moves in the offseason, to get some things done in free agency, but those rookies are going to be playing a lot this year. Especially if you have 4 or 5 picks and you're trying to rebuild your roster. I need my 4th rounder on the field. To know what my 3rd and 4th rounder has done in the past here for Atlanta, I need my 3rd and 4th rounder on the field this year. And if you trade back from 15 to 20 and you grab an extra 3rd rounder, an extra 4th rounder, I need both of them on the field too as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right? Because Terry hasn't made some bad picks here. Let's be honest. Some people might be a little upset about, why we selected Bijan over this guy, or Kyle Pitts over this guy, or Jake London over this guy. But if you look at the long list of picks that Terry had, they weren't that bad. And there's some people here that's going to be here in Atlanta for a while due to Terry. So let's hope
the triplets will be here, right? Hey, you got Bijan, you got Penix, you got Drake. They will be here.
That's pretty good to know that if you have your star wide receiver, quarterback, and running back set for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Because now if you're good around that, and they're studs too as well, 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard running back, Penix who's going to be slinging and banging this year. It's going to be crazy, man.
You got the best guard in the league.
Oh man, come on!
Literally,
apparently, you're going to have to fight to get the best center in the league too as well with the way that this is working out.
Yeah.
Because Drew Dahmer's name is being brought up as one of the top free agents to look at, and we're going to bring that up here shortly. Want to go back to the chat. Chat is live. Chat is lit. Georgia, Texas boy said from Marshall. I'm talking about that boy Mike Green. Morning, fellas. Mike Green is showing out right now. We need that desperately. You see it from Tyreek Johnson in the chat. I got you, T. Will, on the PC. Let's see here. Jay in the truck. We shouldn't have any problems getting defensive talent in this draft. That's a great comment from Jay right there.
Yeah, he's right.
Because
he's right.
Your first, if you got 4 picks, Terry, should 3 of them be offense?
Hell no. 4 of them should be defense. In my opinion, 4 of them should be defense. Look, you need an edge. You need a linebacker or 2. You need a corner. And you might need a safety, but you at least need those 3. And I wouldn't be mad if you took 2 edge rushers. I wouldn't be mad if you took 2 linebackers, but I for one, and these are our beloved Atlanta Falcons, and I love them, so you never know. But that, in my humble opinion, with 5 picks, that entire draft needs to be defense.
Hey, the boy Georgia Texas boy said I'm nervous on Mike Green because I remember the hype of Marlon Davidson and Richie Grant. Richie Grant was his hype was pretty high for his safety. I forget who the other safety that was coming out too as well that was balling out in the NFL. Damn, that was a couple years ago. But Richie Grant, I know how fans are on that. I think Mike Green as a pass rusher, he's giving those Chase Young vibes right now, from what I'm seeing off tape. So if he can show up in the NFL and the Falcons do select him, that's just a name you just got to see what he's about. All these players have to show it too as well. I mean, the kid from Michigan, he has to show up and show out, right? Even Shedeur Sanders, even Travis Hunter. I mean, that was college. This is the NFL. We've seen this before. So I know how Georgia Texas boy feels, not disagreeing with that. A lot of these players would have that hype. And then guess what? There's going to be a third, fourth, or fifth rounder who's out there busting ass and winning Super Bowls, and their first rounder sitting on the bench somewhere. So, you know, it's possible that can happen. You know, I've seen some first round picks be bust. I've seen some second round picks be bust. I've seen a third, fourth round, and fifth round picks be bust. But there is a lot of hype around Mike Green. But then again, you're hearing people like Matt Miller and these scouts and people that's down there covering the Pro Bowl. The defense is killing it down there at Senior Bowl, right? These are the players that you might want to go for in the draft. A team that's ahead of us at 14, 13, and 12 who didn't get their cornerback, who didn't get their running back, who didn't get their wide receiver. They're going to go defense. Look at the top 100 players coming out in the draft this year. I mean, Mike Green is up there. So
I don't think he'll be there. I really
don't think he'll be there at 15. It's a tough call. Unless something
know.
happens with the draft stock where he slides back. And then if he does slide back, what team is going to say, nah, let him slide back to the Falcons? They need him.
Right. No.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody we've heard the behind the scenes stories of what happens at the draft. We talked about that before, and we've seen the Hard Knock videos that come out after it, and the behind the scenes news of this GM called this person. They was fielding calls from 4 or 5 teams 2 days before, and you saw the video of the GM in the office when the Giants called. Or remember the Falcons were calling the Giants. He looked down at the phone. It was like Terry's calling. The Falcons are calling.
Falcons, yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like this stuff happens, so you never know what could happen to a Mike Green or a James Pierce Jr. Falcon fan, let's just be happy that they do go defense at 15.
Yeah.
Or if they trade back, go defense at 18 or 20. If you select a wide receiver, if you select an offensive lineman, I don't know what to tell you. But we're gonna be live. We're gonna be live. I don't know what to tell you now, but we're gonna be live to tell you what we're gonna tell you then. I tell you that.
Man, they better not. I'll tell you something, man. I just don't think I just don't think they want to do that.
I think last year's insurance situation with Kirk Cousins
was great.
Now they understand it now. I think now most NFL journalists and people that look at the Michael Penix move say, "Oh, I get it." But then they're still going to say, you guys paid Kirk Cousins a bunch of money, and he's your backup.
Yeah, well, right? I mean, look, man, this is life, and life is always going to life, and you can't predict the future. Nobody knew that Kirk was going to fall off a cliff, and quite candidly, I think Kirk was injured. I really do. I think 2 things were going on with him. Number one, his arm and his shoulder were injured, and so he couldn't just where he was throwing from his arm and his shoulder because his leg still wasn't. Probably felt like dead leg, right? It's going to take you a year and a half to come back fully from an Achilles because you have to trust it. You have to trust it to plan off of, right? It's a whole lot going on. So the beginning of the season, he was basically just all arms. And then when his arm and his shoulder got hurt, he couldn't put anything into it anyway because he's still rehabbing or getting better from the Achilles. And I really think he was hurt. You know, Kirk could go somewhere this year and perform well, which would be to the chagrin of the Falcons, but I could see that happening. I don't think that was a bad hire. I'm going to defend it. Look, Kirk was the best quarterback on the market at that time. The Falcons went out and got it. It didn't work out, but you can't be afraid of failure. You have to go for it. And I commend Terry and Arthur Blank and Raheem for doing it. And not only did they do that, but they went and got a backup or an excellent quarterback of the future. And as it turns out, good thing we did have him. So I'm okay with what our brass did. I don't have an issue with it. And to anybody who does whatever, I don't have an issue with it.
Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Nathan Floyd's in the chat. Georgia Texas boys in the chat. Nathan Floyd, like what I'm seeing from Walter Nolan. Hey, now there's a couple of players that's working up these draft stocks now. Y'all look at these players. Georgia Texas boy, what time y'all on Sunday? Hey, 8 p.m. We are live Sunday.
I thought we were doing it in the morning, Jack. So we're not doing it in the morning anymore?
No, that's our other video we're working on. We're doing
you're right. My bad. Sorry.
You and Carrie, I think Bodie's going to be a
part of that one
too as well. And
you're
then,
right. Sorry about
Sunday
that.
night, we have our breakfast. It's a breakfast. Jesus Christ. What am I? Is there Tito still in this cup from last night? Might be. No, we have our Sunday night show at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Big shout out to Benny Smith in the chat too as well. Georgia Texas boys said Javon Holland, which is the name safety from Miami. That's a guy, we could be talking about here too as well in a matter of weeks. Raymond Collins in the chat with the good morning. One time for the fan. Auntie Pam is in the chat with the good morning. Jack and Terry and everyone in the chat. Happy Friday. Just seen the text and got to take care of some stuff in a couple of minutes here. Jesus Christ. Nathan Floyd said nobody likes it or wants to hear it, but I can see us trading back to get more picks and taking off. Whoa. Oh, shit, Nathan Floyd. What you saying? Oh God. Oh, my God, my heart. Oh, my God. Terry called 911.
That's exactly the kind of response you're going to receive if that happens.
First, I'm going to go ahead and remember this, Nathan Floyd, because if this does happen, let's just say that this happens on draft night. Nathan Floyd, make sure you're ready to join the podcast because you might be Nathan Floyd Damas.
These folks will lose it, man.
This might be Nathan Damas' moment right here. I remember even Kerry talking about that quarterback stuff, and no, we can't do it. You and Kerry going back.
Yeah.
Can't happen. It wouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
No, the funny part was literally, Jag, right before they picked him, Kerry and I were like, well, we know what they're not going to do. We know that they're not going to pick Penix, and darn it, like it wasn't 5 minutes later, and Kerry and I are looking at each other like, what the hell just happened?
We were live for that moment. We'll be live for that moment again this year. It's a good feeling once again to have the draft. Even going up to the draft, we'll, relive the past couple years here at One Time for the Fan, what we've done. But we just love to talk with the Falcon fans on draft night, have special guests. Anybody's, usually welcome to join us for a couple minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes to chat about the Atlanta Falcons. It's a great time of the year where, I think Falcon fans and other fans around the NFL, start loading up on gear and merchandise and putting their Falcon flags up. I remember last year for draft day, I had my Falcon flags up. Fans looking at me like, why the hell you got his Falcon flags up? It's draft day. We getting us a player or two, so it's a good feeling, you know what I'm saying? But be back this year for One Time for the Fans draft night. We're going to have a great time. Georgia, Texas boys in the chat. I believe moving forward without the overseer of Rich McKay will allow Terry Fontenot and Morris to cook. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all think Rich McKay ain't involved in none of this stuff, man, come on, man. Like, Rich, if he's in that building, he's involved in a lot of stuff, man. Let me tell you something. If Terry, let's just say Terry left One Time for the Fan and went to do his own podcast, and he's just on his own doing his own podcast, you think I still wouldn't talk to Terry?
That's right. You better.
I would still talk to Terry behind the scenes. You never know what me and Terry could be cooking.
Right, exactly.
He's still in the building too as well. Let's just say Terry's still in the One Time for the Fan building, but his podcast. Hey Terry, what's up, man? You doing good? You're good over there, bro? He didn't leave the building.
We could still be talking strategy.
When we go Flowery Branch, Terry, you're there. When we go Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you're there. When we fly to this, you're there. When we walk on the field, you're there.
I see what you did there, Jack.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't think for 1 second that because he's in change of this name or operate, he's there. And it happens even for the boardroom when it comes. For the war room when it comes to this defensive scheme that they're going to be calling up. Jeff mentioning Raheem and Jeff Gray and Jerry Gray and defensive line coach and the linebackers coach. I can guarantee you that there's going to be a couple more people in that room too as well. Don't be surprised if Zach Robinson dips in and out that room to see what's going on. As the offensive coordinator, telling them from their standpoint of what he might see on an offense to say, look, that might not be a good defense to run against this type of coverage.
Yeah, that's true.
They all feed off each other. It just happens to work out that way. Even when it comes to the draft room, you guys see what's going on in the war room. Half y'all don't even know most of the people in that room. You can see and people shaking hands and high fives in suits. You don't even know most of those people in the room. A lot of people play into this, man. Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, the subscribe button. Trading back to get more draft capital is a real option. Mr. Shepard, you are definitely right about that. I can see offensive tackle in the first if we part ways with Matthews or McGarry. These are moves that happen around March, April, May that lead up to the draft that say, whoa, this is actually happening right here. I mean, you know, not May. I'm talking about the moves that they're making to go into the draft. We're going to find out firsthand. If Matthews decides to retire randomly, that should happen before the draft. If they decide to ship McGarry off, that's probably going to happen before the draft. Let's just say they go load up on 2 or 3 edge rushers in free agency. Good ones. Is it Mike Green at 15 then?
Hell yeah.
You know, it's got to look at it too as well. Let's just say they'll get
Never have enough pass rushers.
I mean, you do have players that's also going to be playing for their contract this year too as well. You got to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? You have some players that could be out the door this year. I forget who just posted it on Twitter the other day. Falcons cap space in 2026 is like $70-80 million. They're balling. Balling. Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and get to this real quick, Terry. Let's see here, fans in the chat. 82 Money Carlo. Picture Kirk fall off, and we didn't draft Mike. Folks will be jumping off of the.
They sure would. They
You're
sure
totally
would
about that because
He's
now
right.
you see with the quarterback situation what it is in the NFL. Even a lot of these quarterbacks, after your starter goes down, some of the backups was just not that good.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw it in the NFL. Like, I mean, look at Daniel Jones. Even he became from a starter to a backup, right? And you think Daniel Jones would be a starter? If Daniel Jones was a starter in New York, fell off, went to Minnesota, sat behind Sam Darnold for a few games. Don't know where Sam Darnold's going to be going forward. But I don't see Daniel Jones as some team going to say, "Oh, we got to get him. We have to get him in our team. He has to be the starter going forward. We're going to build around Daniel Jones." That's not happening. Could that happen for Kirk Cousins at his age? Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
But there might be a team to take a shot on Kirk to say, you know what? We'll give him one more shot. One more try. He's not having this Matt Ryan fall off type of era, but he's in that part where he's getting older. The injury maybe to the arm last year that was reported before the Saints game could be a problem. His mobility too as well. I seen that with Matt. You can run past Matt and say hi, Matt, and he'll fall to the ground. You didn't even have to touch him or sack him, right? Because that's how bad the offensive line was. For Kirk last year, our offensive line was actually pretty decent. Kirk just couldn't. Mm-hmm. He was just second guessing throws. He was standing in the pocket. He was just holding the ball too late. Yeah. You know, a couple times a player would run at him. He would just forward tuck and hit the ground. But that's just how it was here in Falcons country. Yeah. But fans would be upset if you did not have a quarterback for the future. And looking at the quarterbacks this year, I think fans are excited that we have Michael Penix. So
yeah, Kirk may be okay. Look it, man. As you get older, things get taken away. All right, for you young bucks out there, you don't know anything about that, but there will come a time, my friends, when you can no longer run as fast as you used to. You don't have the strength that you used to. You don't have the agility. It just goes. You know, It just goes, and oftentimes you don't get a warning. Right? It just happens. Did that happen with Kirk? Don't know. I think it was a combination of really Kirk being hurt and probably more hurt than he let on. You know, and that healing of the Achilles. But, you know, Kirk could be all right, man. Kirk, you know, I think there's still hope for him. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but, you know, Kirk could have a decent career.
Hey, Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Pamela Johnson in the chat. We got to go ahead and wrap this up here because I got to make a move. But, of course, we'll be back on One Time for the Fans Sunday night at 8. Terry, I believe you're going live, too, as well later on today. Might be able to jump into that channel there later on. Pamela Johnson's in the chat. If Cooper Rush is available in free agency, they need to pick him up if Kurt is gone. Terry, this is one of the names that we talked about, I believe, on your channel a couple of days ago, a couple of shows ago, when we mentioned who would be a solid backup quarterback here for the Atlanta Falcons. And I was looking at some of these names of free agent quarterbacks available, and I'm looking at it like, well, you're not going to get Russ, and it's not going to be Fields, it's not going to be this guy. Who would be a guy that could fit, you know, what maybe the Falcons could look for behind Penix? And Cooper Rush is a guy that he's not expensive when it comes to contract-wise. He's not a very bad quarterback. I think he's being held hostage in Dallas by Jerry Jones. Mm-hmm. But even the situation last year where Cooper Rush needed, I think it was 100 and something yards to throw for to make an incentive, and then Jerry Jones benched him and started Trey Lance and didn't know about it.
Oh
For
wow.
Cooper Rush, I'll be like, "Yo, I am out of here. I needed an
Yeah,
extra 250 grand to
yeah,
do 100 to throw 100
yeah.
yards. You mean to tell me that
That's foul.
you
That
took
right
that
and
moment away
stuff
from me?"
like that right there. I wouldn't because what's 250,000 to Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Well, I
what
didn't
that,
know about
that's like
Cooper
five
Rush. He
million.
didn't tell me he had to throw the ball, and he should have just came to talk to me.
No, man. That's your job to know. You should know especially you the owner. You should know everything that has to do with finances. That's just foul, man. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't, because you're talking 200 and that's $5 to me and you, Jack. That's nothing to Jerry. Okay, that's nah. You're wrong, Jerry. Anyway,
T.
shout
Will,
out, sir. Go ahead.
man, we gotta go ahead and get up out. I have to make a run, or I'm going to be late for this appointment. Um, T. Will, man, shout outs for today.
Yes, sir. Hey, first and foremost, shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us. We appreciate that. We thank you. We love talking Falcons football with you guys. Hell, we love talking football. We love talking anything with you guys. This is why we do it. So thank you to everyone who came in the chat and fellowship with us and basically talking Falcons. Gotta thank you. Want to thank God. Would not be here without him. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate it. And hey, last but not least, I got to give my boy Jack Spade and my brother Eric Parker. Would not be here without them. Thank you to you, gentlemen. I will forever be grateful. As you know, I'm going to thank you every show. So, Jack, it's on you.
Hey, Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast. You know we love talking Falcons football with you all. For those that do not know, Kerry was getting ready to jump in here and talk Falcons football with us. And of course, if Kerry was getting ready to jump in at almost 10 a.m., we was probably going to stay on until about 12, 1 o'clock because we love talking Falcons. We don't care what day it is. Wednesday night at 8, Sunday night at 8, Friday mornings 9 a.m. We'll talk Falcons. Terry's going to be going live probably later on today too as well for my ATL Sports content creators here in the chat. So many channels to check out this off season. Have a good time, Falcon fans. Like these are just these moments that we need to enjoy here. Being a fan, because when our time does come for us to turn things around, you guys will be there. Christy Lewis will be there as a Falcon fan when we get on that winning track. Raymond Collins will be there. Kerry will be there. I know Jarnell won't be there because he's clearly a Jags fan. And,
Didn't
he
see
needs to
him
start
today.
making it more Jags game. Well,
Yeah.
He'll show up every now and then.
Yeah.
But he was joking earlier. I was texting him about the Jags head coaching situation and the GM that day when nobody wanted to interview with the Jags because of the GM. And I was telling him about Khan holding the team hostage. I'm like, let this team go to London where they belong. And then he texted me back because I texted him that the GM was holding up the situation. 2 hours later, he texted me the GM gets fired. Then he keeps sending me, reports of their new head coach and all this nonsense. So it's going down in a major way. Kerry said, "Is T. Will doing a third
Oh
show today
wow.
at Hooters that
Oh
I can
wow.
join?"
So
Sheesh.
you did you hear about what happened yesterday with because that's where that joke's from. It was an analogy that just went way off the rails. And so they, probably for the next month, 2 months or whatever, Carrie, Beard Gang, just about anybody who saw that show will make some reference to Hooters at some point. So
Hey,
that's the origin of that.
so we got
That's where that
Terry
comes
at Hooters. We got Big Country with the croissants.
from. The
You
croissant.
know, Jax Bay
The
with the
croissant.
audio mic, the situation. Everybody got a little something to go off of
And
this
the
season.
Tito's. Don't forget the
And
Tito's.
the Tito's, man. Hey, Tito's was Titoing yesterday. I still feel it, man. That hangover feeling. But then again, tonight we got more, NBA action, so that's cool. It's the off season. I don't have no Falcons football to watch. Might be watching some skill games. I'm literally just, taking care of things what I got to do, you know, with myself and of course the fam and friends. But then you got NBA on. Might as well sit back and watch some games. I'm not finna sit there and watch no, you know, doggone. I don't even know MTV or whatever shows they got. I'm watching sports, and the sports I want to watch is either college basketball or NBA right now. So big
I,
shout out to everybody in the chat. Kerry said out of nowhere during the show, in the middle of his speech, T.O. just said something about the strippers at Hooters. completely caught us off guard. Was so funny. Damn, T. I gotta make it to your show a couple more times. I
So,
doing strippers at Hooters now.
no, man. So here's what happened. Right. Here's what happened. I'm doing the show mobile. I was on the go yesterday because I had to drop my daughter off at college. So I'm out there. I'm on my phone, and somebody called me. And you know, when you're on StreamYard, somebody calls you, kicks you off the show. So they were joking, you didn't pay your bill or whatever. And then I think Big Low jumped in. And Big Low was like, hey, man, I gave you $40. What did you do with it? And I was like, Big Low, I got the phone covered. But I tell you what, how about you let me borrow money to go and get a convertible? And I could, drive it down to Hooters and, fellowship with the strippers at Hooters. And what I was trying to say was these strippers were moonlighting. They worked at Hooters, but they also worked at another strip bar. But the joke missed. Okay. The joke missed. Or it didn't hit the way I wanted it to hit. And man, that Big Low, you already know, Big Low, C-Dub, Ladarius, they were all over me. They were all over me. Look, but he said,
Peaches, do you love me? Falcons fan, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's
oh man, yeah. So it was a show, man. And I told my wife about it, and she was like, "Don't let that happen again." So I'm not gonna crack that joke again. Miss Kim don't play, so I told her about the joke, and she was like, "That was not appropriate in any way, and you should not be joking about Hooters and strippers." And I was like, "You're right," because what else could I say, right? So, yeah, but
it's going down, man. Big shout out to you all, Falcon fans. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. See y'all Sunday night at 8. One time for the fan, from the fan, for the fan. Hey, man, rise up.